Happy holidays. Clark Brown with Restoration Advisors and the Alliance of Independent Restorers. First video I've shot in my new office / studio. I do have a lot of content that I plan to put out this year, a lot of things to say, and I just want to make a good library of just some useful things. So I think the lighting is okay. I hope the color is okay. Maybe the pictures might be a little crooked, might need to do a little tweaking there, but progress over perfection, right? Listen, the reason I decided today on a Saturday, I'm certainly not dressed up. I'm in the office working casually on some things. And I saw a post on the internet from a very good contractor, a friend of mine. And this video is not intended to be critical about this person's work or what they're attempting to do. What it's intended to do is take a very good intentional post and take it to the next level, as well as adding some education for you and for everyone else. Okay, what I'm talking about is fire and smoke restoration and cleaning. Okay, not how to clean a project, what chemicals, identification of, protein or wood or whatever, and not about contents. There's a lot of great education out there for that. Anissa Coy and Kevin and Anissa Coy have a great fire school out in the Pacific Northwest. They train online as well as come to your location, as well as Anissa puts out lots of videos answering lots of questions. I really recommend you do a search for Anissa. I think it's Firehouse Clean. Excuse me if I'm saying that wrong, Anissa. Firehouse Cleaning Systems or something. So I wasn't planning on giving her promotion, but I always try because I think education is key. What I'd like to talk about, and again, this contractor, I've already spoken to him and we're on the same page. Fires, especially of any magnitude, or a smoke job that contain ash and char, they pose an incredibly large health hazard to all the occupants of that room, of the ongoing team that are working on everything from cause and origin into the cleaning restoration, to the adjusters and the stakeholders and any homeowners that might want to be coming in to get some of their valuables. I'm going to tell you this because I've taken on a mission in this industry to do nothing but to share. And I implore and I beg you to help me do that. Spread this message, share this video, create your own. Everyone you see, everyone in your market, I promise you, the better we are professionally as one, the better we are as everybody. Meaning, don't be the only person in your market doing all the right things. Try to get everyone else up to your level. I know the moniker is, that's my competition, I don't want to make them better. It saves lives. This is not about money. This is not about market share. This is about saving lives. When a fire happens in a home, there are plastics, there are toxins, there are veneers, formica, there are toys, ceiling fans. There are components that burn and melt and off gas and release not only VOCs, but high levels of airborne particulate carcinogens. These become sometimes much smaller than those of mold spores. They have been measured of highly toxic carcinogen particles after a fire in the char and the ash that are still airborne at 2 microns. That's not going to be caught in your typical N95, maybe not even the wrong cartridges in your full face or half face. But don't think about just respiratory. Think about protection. These carcinogens that I'm talking about, that I'm going to go into in just a moment, are also highly impactful through absorption. Now, I want to take you through a transition that's going on in the firefighting service right now in this country. It's been happening for a long time. Some fire stations and municipalities are quicker to take it than others. So there used to be a badge of honor for a fireman to go in, fight a fire, and as soon as the flames are out, pull off the breathing apparatus and to continue to fight the smoldering. Hey, it's no longer blah blah blah, and then go outside and do something else. And then there was another thing where you would leave and go back to the firehouse, but it's again badge of honor. Who has the dirtiest helmet? You don't want to have a clean helmet in a fire department. That's kind of like a macho alpha. Your suit's clean. Oh man, we got a little ginger over here. We got a little squeaky clean. Somebody. Education has evolved where firefighters and people who deal with these cause and origin, engineers, adjusters, if you're visiting a site that has had a fire and you have this black char on you, on your clothes, and your hair, and your nose. We've all blown our nose and had the black come out. You're taking that back home. Okay? That is on your skin, that is on your clothes, that is on your gear. It's wrapped up in you. You put it in your car. Every time you get in your car, you're breathing it. Now, let me fast forward to there are many restorers now that are getting air samples after the fire. Board up, day one, night one, cause and origin has it, get permission to go out, get air sampling. There's lots of labs that do that. You have to find the right lab. Take this sample and tell them what you're looking for. You're looking for carcinogens from a fire. You're going to get those results back. And what you're going to find, and you're going to measure those findings against the OSHA and especially the EPA. They have the PELs, the permissible exposure level count per carcinogen. For example, benzenes. Benzene is one of the highest found carcinogens posing a threat after a fire. Okay? The permissible levels are really low because benzene has been directly attached to causing lung disease. Okay? Not opinion, facts. Pure facts. Used to not be spoken about, it is now. It's just not getting around to our industry. The fire department now have changed their SOPs. You leave your mask on until you're outside. You don your clothes before you get into that fire truck in some cases. You have wipes that you start wiping down your gear and your mask and your face, your hands. And then you don't take that stuff home. You clean up at the firehouse before you go home. Okay? There was just a huge issue on Capitol Hill with Jon Stewart and the firemen from 9/11. They're dying. The firefighters and first responders from 9/11 are dying from the exposure to the millions of unknown components that came from that devastating fire that was a result of the Twin Towers. People on the street weren't protected. There's a huge disastrous threat out there to the unknown. Okay, all this to go around. This is a big conversation, but I want to tell you, get your jobs tested. OSHA and EPA require you by law, not ICRC standards, or it should be a shall eliminate and identify all threats to your staff. People are going to argue that OSHA does not have jurisdiction over a residential home. We've talked about this with asbestos. That's a whole nother conversation. But once you have, as a contractor, has signed a contract with a client or insured and plan to do work there under the guise of a contractor, that becomes a workplace. Once you have employees that work for you on a W-2 or W-9, W-2 status, or as a temporary, they become your employee and under your care and under your responsibility for OSHA for protection. So that job becomes a workplace, and OSHA and the EPA do have federal jurisdiction over those places and what you do there. Now, you have a responsibility and a legal law to do a JHA or JSA, job site hazard, job site safety assessment or analysis. There's a lot of different acronyms. It's not difficult. You can download those online. Go to OSHA.gov and find these documents. Find the excerpts, okay? Do an assessment. It's a one-pager. What are my threats? What am I doing to resolve them or to mitigate them? And if that means an air sample, it means you board up that job and you get an air sample and it takes you 4 or 5 days to get those results, nothing happens in that home for 4 or 5 days. And I would urge you to tell the adjuster and the engineers, you should not be going in there, because I have seen dozens of the results of these air tests. I told you there's a PEL from the EPA of, let's say, 16 to 18 parts per billion of benzene. You're finding them in the thousands days after a fire. It's still existent, has not been exhausted, has not been cleaned. There are many contractors that wear nothing but a PAPR, and that's a pressure applied protection apparatus. That's oxygen provided, because your full face aren't working. Listen, I don't want to get too deep. I'm telling you, you have no business. You have no safe reason to be going into a fire or a post-fire property or a soot or a smoke job or anything. When you don't know what's in there, you don't have any right going in, because you're exposing yourself, which you're probably needed by your loved ones, your staff, and you're bringing that out. So I'm only bringing awareness to give you a different way of start thinking, okay? This is not used to increase your invoices, but it does. This is not used as a way to stick it to the insurance company. It's not the way to look at it. Forget the money, forget the invoicing or the estimate or any of that. The first thing you have to do is make sure the people that go rushing in to help restore a home can do that for many years moving down the road. I personally have been on hundreds of fires, bad fires, with no protection. And I am worried about what results I might have as I get older. And I'm old now. But once you know, you can't unknow these things. So if you do firework, please sit with your team, get with OSHA. OSHA loves to consult. Contact your local OSHA or a safety company. Invest some money into this and say, I'd like to approach fires in a safer way. Talk to an IH. But the first time you get some samples and look at that and see what's there, it will change everything. It will change, like, OMG, look at what we have in here. And I'm rushing in. Okay, so, and then, you become responsible. Once you signed on as the GC or the contractor for that job, you become responsible for that site. So you actually have an obligation to start talking to your homeowner. They need protection when they go in there. They need the right PPE. They need to have your HAZCOM plan and understand. Or your team needs to go in and get what they need. Go in and get it, bring it out, clean it first. Set up protocols and SOPs to handle these things. But please don't continue to go through and do things with your head in the ground. This is legal, and you can't stand up in front of a judge in court. You can't stand in front of the family. Hey, I'm back. Had a little camera malfunction. If you couldn't tell, I'm no Steven Spielberg. So camera stopped. So where I was at was, and I don't know where I ended, but at the end of the day, you have an obligation. I want you to do your homework. Please educate yourself. Spend some time or assign it to someone on your team to accumulate as much information as they can in OSHA, in EPA, and NIOSH, NIOSH. These are the governing bodies of of hazards and job places, as well as EPA and NIOSH are about the air, ASHRAE, ASHRAE. All these things will lead you down the path of more information, and the more you know, the better you're going to be. Your invoices will go up. You'll be deemed as a huge professional in your industry. And again, I implore you just to share this knowledge with other restorers in your market. Stop thinking about, I don't want to tell my competition. This is about saving lives. This is about saving people's lives for things we don't know. And this is what we do. So again, sorry about the mix up with the video. Share this wide, create your own video, wrap this up into who you are as a company, and I promise you, you will benefit from being a more professional, safety conscious company. It's just your clients, the public, want people like us that are protecting their citizens, their sons and daughters. So anyway, get a hold of me if you need to, Clark Brown. You can find me at restorationadvisors.com. My email is clark@restorationadvisors. I'm going to put them both here on the screen. I love talking about this. I love to spend a few minutes with you. I'll give you what I have. There's a lot of people in this industry. Join the Alliance of Independent Restorers. We're making this a huge focus of what we do. I'll put that logo down here in the screen too, that website, and you can join us. But this is where we're moving this industry. This is just one area. So I hope this video helped you. I'll continue to make some more of these. I have lots of things written down on a notepad that I just need to find the time to process. And I'll be building these up on my YouTube channel.